All right, guys. Before we start this video, I need to say something really important. And I'm honestly asking you to listen until the end before you come for me in the comments. Because yes, today I'm continuing to talk about a Thai GL series that a lot of you already love. But I'm going to approach it from a slightly different perspective. I'm not here to attack anyone, and I'm definitely not here to ruin your experience of the show. If you're here, it's probably because we've been loving it together. But that doesn't mean we can't also look at it more critically. And today, just like I started doing in my previous video about this series, I want to talk about something that I think often gets romanticized or completely ignored: manipulation. I know, you're already thinking, okay, here comes the speech against my favorite character, especially considering we're talking about the main character. But I promise, that's not the point. The point is to understand what we're watching, how it's being told, and why certain dynamics make our hearts race, even when maybe they should make us feel a little uncomfortable. So I'm just asking one thing. Keep an open mind, don't take this personally, and let's try to look at this story with a bit more clarity. Because sometimes what's underneath is way more interesting than what we see on the surface. So here we are. Because what happened in this episode, guys, I honestly did not expect it to go this way. I really thought the direction would cut that final scene from the previous episode. I expected some distance, some kind of interruption, maybe Sun being stopped, protected, or at least an immediate consequence. But no, the story just continues. And that completely changes how we have to interpret what happened. And I'm going to say this very directly, and please don't hate me for it, but right now, Flint becomes a disturbing presence for me. Not just narratively, but morally, ethically, and on a human level. Because we're not talking about an ambiguous dynamic here. This isn't a gray area or intense romantic tension like we often see in these kinds of series. This is a very clear choice. Flint decides to force something that Sun had already clearly said she didn't want. And that's the part we cannot ignore. Sun wasn't confused. She wasn't unsure. She had expressed her will. She said she wanted to wait because she didn't feel ready. And despite that, Flint goes ahead anyway. And no, there are no excuses. There's no, she loves her too much. No, she couldn't control herself. No, this has no justification. And the series itself, in my opinion, makes that very clear the next morning. Because when Sun wakes up, what she feels is not happiness, not romantic confusion, it's rejection. She rejects Flint. She rejects what happened. She rejects how it happened. And that is incredibly powerful. Because it tells us this wasn't something shared. It wasn't something built together. It was something imposed on her. And I think the deepest pain for Sun isn't just what happened physically, it's what breaks emotionally. Her trust. Because if you really think about it, in the right moment, in the right context, being with Flint would have been exactly what Sun wanted. It was her dream. It was something pure. But instead, what she receives is control. Control in her home. Control in her work environment. Control in her friendships. And this pattern, guys, is not random. Sun is in love, yes. She's devoted, yes. But that doesn't mean she has to accept everything. Because love should never erase you as a person. And Flint, at least for now, keeps acting like Sun belongs to her, like she has a right over her. But where is the empathy? Where is healthy love? Because honestly, all I've heard so far are phrases like, "I'm worried about you." But let's pause for a second. Is that really concern? Or is it disguised control? Is it ego? Is it possession? Because to me, it doesn't feel like love. And this brings me to what concerns me the most, the message behind it. That dangerous message that says, "I'm toxic, but you love me. So I apologize, and you forgive me, because I love you." Yeah. For me right now, this is not a romantic story. This is manipulation. Plain and simple. And that's exactly why it's important to talk about it. Not to tear the series down, but to understand what it's making us feel and why. At the same time, though, there's a scene that really stood out to me, but for completely different reasons. The slap in the bathroom. Guys, visually, it's powerful. Because it's not just a slap, it's a reaction. It's a boundary finally being drawn. After that forced kiss, which already carries all the weight we've been talking about, that moment feels almost liberating to watch. Not because violence is the solution, but because for the first time, we see someone say no in a clear, physical, undeniable way. And the direction there is incredible. The silence, the tension, the confined space of the bathroom, everything builds up to make that moment almost cathartic. It's like all the frustration the audience has been holding suddenly finds an outlet. And most importantly, that slap isn't random. It's not there for shock value. It's a direct response to a violation. First of personal space, then physical boundaries. It's dignity. It's someone reclaiming control over their own body, their own space, after someone else decided to cross it. In a series where we've seen constant control and imposition, that scene completely breaks the pattern. It wakes you up. It tells you, this is not romantic. And that's exactly why, even though it's a harsh moment, it works so well. Because finally, someone doesn't let Flint do whatever she wants. And as the episode goes on, something else becomes very clear. Flint just can't stop imposing herself. It's like she constantly needs to reaffirm her presence, her value, her place in Sun's life. But she never actually stops to listen. She doesn't give Sun space. She doesn't give her time. She doesn't even allow her the right to process what she is feeling after everything that happened. And that's what makes it even heavier. Because it's not just what she did, it's the fact that she doesn't stop. At the same time, though, I really want to highlight something positive. Mercedes' performance. Guys, there's a clear shift. When she plays the look-alike, it's honestly impressive. She's not Sun anymore. You can tell immediately just from her eyes. Her whole energy changes, the way she occupies space, even the way she looks at people. It's one of those subtle but incredibly powerful transformations that don't need dialogue to work. And I think that's a huge strength of the series, because it shows a really strong level of acting detail. That being said, I also want to be fair and give Flint at least a little bit of credit. Because yes, she makes serious mistakes, but it's also very clear that she's completely new to love. She's not ready. She doesn't know how to let go of control. She doesn't have the emotional tools yet to understand that loving someone doesn't mean managing them, owning them, or deciding for them. And this doesn't justify what she did at all, but it does give context. Flint has to learn everything from scratch, respecting boundaries, truly listening, accepting that the other person has their own timing, desires, and needs that she cannot control. And I think the series is finally starting to show that. Because in episode 4, I do see a small opening, a glimpse of something. Flint starts to realize what's happening around her. She begins to understand that something is wrong, that she should have acted differently, that she can't keep going like this if she doesn't want to lose Sun. And maybe, for the first time, she starts to approach a fundamental idea, that protecting someone is not the same as controlling them. So my conclusion is this. If the series truly commits to taking Flint through a real journey of awareness, not a superficial one, then yes, this could become a very interesting character arc to follow. And now I really want to hear from you. Do you think what we saw is love or manipulation? Does Flint deserve redemption, or are there lines that just can't be crossed? Let me know in the comments, but please, let's keep it respectful, even if we disagree, because this is an important conversation. If you enjoy this kind of deeper, unfiltered analysis of GL series, leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. And most importantly, whose side are you on?